right, live Wednesday retirement YouTube live show. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to be covering some of the videos from retirement YouTube that I saw this week, share my thoughts, my notes, and hopefully you'll discover some new channels that you haven't seen before. So, first video that I saw was from Lucrative Luke. So this guy, he is not a traditional retirement YouTuber in the sense that he is like retired at a traditional age, but he is a really young guy. He's a pharmacist and a real estate guy, and he is documenting his net worth journey. He and his family, they're closing in on $2 million of net worth. 700,000 is in traditional investments, and then 1.3 is in real estate, or slightly more in real estate because then he's got some mortgages on the home and other real estate. But super interesting guy. I would recommend you check out this channel. It's pretty inspirational. Just it really shows what you can do if you stay really focused. I mean, that's one thing he talked about. He's 31 and he's been tracking his net worth monthly at least since he was 18 years old, 13 years. So pretty cool. I also comment and he also comments back, so that's fun. More details on the video here. So he outlined his income over the period. Started at $11 an hour when he was working in senior in high school. Now he's making about $250,000 a year as a pharmacist and a real estate agent. Majority of that coming from his work in pharmaceuticals. Rental properties. His first tenant is actually getting out of the rental. It's been 5 years since he's had to re-rent that first property out. So I think that's probably pretty unique in the rental space. Probably got a little bit lucky with how great of a tenant that is, but that's awesome. And then the portfolio, he shared some moves that he's made. So one would be he shared that $700,000 portfolio at the beginning of the year. He moved a significant portion of it to cash, and that happened actually before the market turned down with the tariff announcements in early April. So pretty fortunate timing there. Was able to invest back into the market significantly in spring, and then again he's been lightening up on equity exposure. And 500,000 of the 700,000 is in cash at the moment. So really conservative. Some pretty big moves in asset allocation from my perspective. Although just given all the wealth and real estate, not as not as big as it could have been. Plus the income that he's earning, he's adding quite a bit to the portfolio as it is. But then of that 200,000 that's invested, there is a significant chunk in just one company. And he didn't mention the company, but he alluded to the fact that it was probably some sort of asset management company or some kind of market maker. It was based out of Europe. So interesting, a lot different than what you usually see people on retirement YouTube do, mostly with index funds, maybe some stock portfolios here and there, but pretty active investor, clearly. He didn't share any plans to retire early. However, given their spending, I think they're spending like less than $5,000 a month currently. So they probably could retire just today if they wanted to. Overall, great channel. Give Luke a follow if you haven't already. The next channel I reviewed was Dwayne's. He's retired 500K. So this is a channel completely focused on retiring with middle income. I think Dwayne has shared before, not retiring with a huge portfolio, it was just shy of 550,000. And the untanked in the title of the video, he does these monthly portfolio updates when he shares. He retired at the end of 2021, and then he month by month he shares how much I've got in my portfolio, how much I'm spending, that sort of thing. And he's actually he's actually got more in his retirement accounts now than he had when he was retired 4 years ago. He's actually taken distributions out. At the low point at the start of 2023, it was after that bear market in 2022 that we had, he was down to between 400 and 450. So it's come back quite a ways. And he did share that he does make some income from YouTube. His channel has about 60,000 subscribers. And he shared the last few months, he's made between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. So pretty impressive performance there. He's actually in a pretty high cost of living area too, just east of Los Angeles in California there. It's a beautiful scenery. He always has the most amazing videos just in the desert there. It's pretty cool. Good work, Dwayne, on getting back above that number than when you started. So the next video I saw was from this channel called Talking Wealth. This is a channel for financial advisors, but I thought it would be interesting to share here because it really gives you a look behind the curtain for your the relationship that you have with your advisor and how valuable you are as a client if you are working with one of these advisors that is charging 1% assets under management fees. So this episode was titled RIAs Sell for Record Amounts in Consolidation, and they were talking about the economics of mergers and acquisitions of RIA firms or registered investment advisory firms. Either bigger firms are buying out smaller firms, or firms are merging with each other, that sort of thing. And what are the multiples that are being paid? And the takeaway from this conversation is that business is booming right now. More and more investors are figuring out that investors are very sticky and loyal to their advisors that they hire. It's very rare that a client will leave an advisor in a year. It's 90+% retention for the industry as a whole. So there's higher multiples being paid for these businesses. The study that they referenced was they tend to see 11 times earnings being paid for these businesses, which would be, you figure earnings at an advisory firm would be like 30 to 50%. So I thought it was an interesting thought exercise. If you are someone who has an account with one of these advisors, if you figure, hey, I've got $2 million with them, I'm probably paying them $20,000 a year in fees. What is this relationship actually worth to the advisor? And based on that metric, it would be something like just over $100,000 of equity value that your relationship is worth to that advisor. So I think that's pretty interesting to think about, especially if you're in that position. So make sure you're getting all the value that you should be getting from your advisor if you are in that position. And the other point I wanted to make was that that's come up quite a bit. Back in 2020, they did the same survey, and the firms were selling for about 8 times earnings. So pretty huge multiple expansion. Just interesting. Um, I thought that was interesting, so I wanted to share it. Another channel was from Retirement Transformed. The title of the video is Why I'm More Excited About My 70s Than My 40s. So this guy, Mark, he and his wife, Jody, have this YouTube channel. It's a second marriage for both of them. And they have this business, this coaching business. They sell a course online about how to retire with purpose, basically. But they have a good following. There's like 120,000 people that follow them on YouTube. I'm not sure about other platforms, but YouTube's where I consume their content. And Mark was making these points about why I'm more excited about turning 70 than I am 40. And he gave some good reasons that I thought are worth considering. He was like, well, when I was 40, I was really at the height of my professional career. He was CEO of an insurance business. He had 25 employees. But when he thinks about what life was like at that time, he was really stressed out, and his actual health was suffering due to complications from stress from work. So he's actually more excited about his 70s because he's like, well, now I have complete autonomy over my time, and no one no one can tell me what to do, where to go, what to say. He's in total control. So he's really looking forward to that freedom and having that ability to just really do whatever he feels like. So I think that's cool. And he also made the point of like, you're at that point in life, you're kind of done trying to prove things to people. So relationships are a lot more based on um, not so much trying to one up someone or stuff or things, not, a lot less focus on material things, which I thought was interesting. So go ahead and check out that video if you haven't. And then finally, this channel, Living Life, is a smaller channel, under 1,000 subscribers, but he said retirement regrets, a top 5 and why. So top 5 regrets, according to Paul, number 1 was poor health, forced early retirement. So people, they focus a lot on material wealth, but probably neglect their physical health to their detriment in retirement. Because even if you have a ton of wealth, when you get to retirement age, if you don't have physical health, you really can't use it. So um, it's like, what was all that work for? The second point was not working with a professional. Money issues just in general on number 2. I think putting more thought in behind money to get to retirement was a big focus for the survey that he was referencing. 3 was not having a sense of purpose or missing purpose from work. So people not considering that before they exit the workplace. I think that probably a lot of that is tied to having health forced an early retirement as well. Um, I think those 2 go hand in hand just from what I've seen. 2 people responded none, they had no retirement regrets, which was awesome to see. And then finally, the number 1 regret people had was not doing it sooner, and that makes a ton of sense to me because I feel like I see a ton of videos on retirement YouTube talking about, "Don't fall into the trap of working 1 more year, that's gonna be the worst thing you can do because 'cause you'll never get out of that loop." But people do seem to really enjoy retirement when they finally do take the leap and actually pull the trigger on it. So, I think that's really great, and um, I don't think that's the same for everyone. I think people that are forced into retirement tend to, you see people go, "Oh, things didn't work out quite the way I wanted to." But I think people that actually make the decision to retire really do enjoy it, and it is a great time of life. So that was the weekly update on retirement YouTube, and so that's it. We'll see you guys later. Like and subscribe. Bye.